Well, good morning, my algebros. So today we're going to first review our exponent rules, and that PDF of all of those rules is posted on Learn, but we'll be doing a review of that in class as well. And now we're looking at rational expressions, part 1. So in order to do our rational expressions well, we have to remember our exponent rules. Here you can see that we're dividing, but if I were to go ahead and expand all this out, it would be A times itself 4 times B times itself 3 times, divided by A times itself 3 times B times itself 5 times. And you could just cancel these out and see what you'd have left over, right? And we would see that it's A divided by B squared because there's 2 B's, right? But of course we learned in chapter 6 that we could just subtract. So A to the 4th minus B to the 3rd, be 4 minus 3, which would be 1. And then you have B to the 3rd minus B to the 5th would be 3 minus 5, which would be negative 2, so it would take a ticket and stay downstairs. We could also think of this as who wins. Between A to the 4th and A to the 3rd, A to the 1st is going to win, right? By 1 upstairs. And then 3 on top, 5 on the bottom, there's the bottom wins by 2, right? So we can also play the who wins game. So simplifying, right? This again is just chapter 6. We are just dividing. So 20 divided by 5 is going to be 4, right? Because we divide our like terms. And then A to the 2nd and A to the 4th wins by 2. And then B to the 3rd and B to the 2nd, B to the 3rd wins by 1. And then we multiply straight across. 4 times 1 times B to the 1st is 4 B, and A times 1, A squared times 1 is just A squared. Okay, let's go ahead and practice this one. So of course it's going to be looking at 7 at 21st. That's just reducing that fraction to 1 over 3. And then x wins by 1. And the y's, y to the 1st minus y to the 1st would be 1 minus 1 is 0. And anything to the 0 power is 1. So we know it's just going to be x over 3. Go ahead and do this you try. You can pause the video here and then check your work. Hopefully you're doing just fine because these are review problems. Now we kind of get to something new. When I'm simplifying a fraction that has a polynomial at the top that I can factor, I factor first, right? I don't try to just cancel out here and I'm done with it. This would be incorrect because when something is divided by 2x, the whole family on top is divided by 2x, right? So we always factor first. So I'm going to factor out the 2x on top, leaving me x plus 2. And now I can reduce this fraction here because they have a common factor. And then I can just leave it in the parentheses when I'm done. You can leave it factored. So let's look at this again. I'm going to go ahead and factor first. I look at, these are both binomials, so I'm taking out a monomial, doing the opposite of the distributive property. So they have 6 and they have x squared in common, and I divide that off. And the bottom, they have 9x in common, and I divide that off. And now I can reduce, right? 6 and 9 can be divided by 3, and then x squared and x to the 1st, x squared wins by 1. And then I multiply straight across. Notice I do not need to redistribute. I just leave it factored. And we'll talk more about this, why we're doing it later. Let's go ahead and try this. You try. Pause the video and then check your work. So again, we're factoring first. We take off the greatest common factor and we reduce, right? So this is just part one of what we're doing here. You're going to, in class, we're doing the review exponent rules. We're going to start with that. And then for practice today, we have rational expressions number 1. And there is a worksheet and a puzzle. Okay? And next class, we'll do rational expressions number 2. Have a great day.